So some months ago I did a review of this slider. It's the GT V70 from Andoer. Basically it has a problem whereby the belts mechanism inside are quite loose. So I thought I'd go through a teardown video on how to fix it. So after a couple of goes, I found the best way to do this is to start off at the top, take off the little knob, and then basically undo the motion head screws. So this is the bit where you would hold the handle. There's a couple of grub screws on the top, two at the side. This then pops off, and then flip it over to get underneath to get to the main drive belts. Take off all the screws that you can see along the top, and then it's just a matter of shimmying the main head bearing back off, and then the cover underneath, get all that out of the way, and then you can see the components inside, giving you access to then change and tighten the belts, as you can see. Now with the help of some neoprene pads, and these are used to kind of like put underneath stands, so when they sit on a surface they're a bit softer and they don't move around. I was able to fashion some sort of belt tensioning system inside that allows the movement of the belt to be reduced, as if it had a sort of its own tensioner in there. The main issue with this basically is that it could wear through them, but they're neoprene, they may well stand up to it. And then obviously you've got to do the other side of it, which is the top motion, to make sure you go through the same process. So make sure that you loosen those grub screws around that head there. And once you've loosened those main grub screws on the shaft in the middle and the head, and you've taken all that out, again flip it over, undo all the screws you can find, and then just sort of like wiggle that shaft off at the end there. It all comes off nice and easy, just a bit of care and attention, and then you'll get to see the other belts that control the linear and the panning motion heads. So as you see here, it's the same kind of thing as the bottom, except now there are two belts, one for the linear and one for the panning head motion shafts. You'll see there's some kind of weird tensioner in there, but it only covers one belt. I don't know why that screws there to the left hand side. But I've used the same concept again. I've put the pads in there, built them up double layer this time to cover both belts, and that just kind of like seems to hold everything nice and tightly inside. Yes, it looks like the belt for the main end head catches on the inner head, but not really bothered about that. So now it's just a case of putting everything back together. Just be careful when you do this, make sure everything sits in the right place. I did, as you can see, have to give things a little bit of a tap to get them back in place, mainly the main bearing head and shaft. And then make sure all the grub screws for the shaft that is actually sort of in the middle of everything, make sure all those go back in place properly and they're all nicely tightened up, so you get a nice tight motion on there and no slack. So I found a pack of mixed fibre washers on eBay, so I can put one of those underneath the 1/4 inch head and just basically tighten it all up there so it doesn't move when I'm moving side to side, and the slider hopefully will give a better response to it. For the most part that worked, and then everything is now lovely and smooth, and the motion on this is as I would expect originally, obviously, as it should be from the manufacturer. So now it has great motion just as a sliding action, you know, going sort of like towards something and moving back away from it. That works fantastic. And the motion, which is the panning, where it either focuses centrally on one thing and moves around it, or it gives like a panoramic kind of motion on a pan, those all work absolutely fine now. Now, just to cover a question I was asked on the last video, which I've never actually tried, so I thought I'd give it a go now. Can you use this vertically as a slider like you would a normal slider? So did a quick test, and I would say yes, it works, but don't use it. I have upgraded my tripod since last time, and this tripod you're looking at now is the Manfrotto 55. This also got the horizontal head, which allows you to do cool little things with it. But thanks very much for watching my video today. I hope you found it useful, and please subscribe if you've not already. See you soon. Bye.